Hello, hello. I hope you're doing well today. Today we have with us Chantal. Chantal is a family and law mediator in South Africa. And today we talk about her story of grief and loss and losing her mom and building her business and just the resilience and the strength from her mom and her grandmother. I think you're going to enjoy today's episode. And if you do listen, make sure to leave some comments below and what resonates for you.
Raised by women, raised by women, raised by women.
Chantal,
Hello, Elijah.
happy to have you here today.
Thank you. Happy to join you.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Chantal Kur. I live in Johannesburg, South Africa. I work as a divorce and family law mediator. I also do workplace mediation and parenting coordination. And the podcast caught my eye, Raised by Women. So I was raised by women, and that's why I am on air today.
Thank you. Where you're located, I was just sharing for our guests, I was just sharing with Chantal that's a bucket list item for me, South Africa. So it seems beautiful there.
That's very beautiful, and I'd love to have you come visit.
Yes. Yes, we'll be in touch. So we always start with our stories and where our stories begin, like the moment in our life that just completely changed the full trajectory of our life. Where does that story begin for you?
So there's been a few moments that have changed the trajectory of my life. If I start with the first one, it would have begun when I was a little girl. And my mother made a decision to move away from the communities we were involved in, which completely changed my trajectory because I had to belong in something that was completely different and something that I wasn't used to. So you have to find your way and recreate yourself. So that was the first one, but there has been a few.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Have you always lived in South Africa? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, I've always lived in South Africa, but I've visited other countries, including yours.
Yes, here in New York.
New York.
Yeah. Now, I know we were talking earlier, and I know the show is all based on the woman who raised us. I know you've had loss. Tell us, do you want to talk about that and share?
Sure. So I was raised by my mother and her mother, and her cousins were in our lives, and her sisters were in and out of our lives. So it was mostly women. So my mother was the predominant figure in my life. She was mom, nurturer, provider. She was the disciplinarian. She was strict, but she was also kind. And when in 2010 she passed away, and I watched her go, and it was a time I don't think I'll ever forget. It's inscribed in me. And that was the second huge changing of the trajectory of my life. So that was the second one.
I'm sorry. I heard you said you were with her.
Oh, yes, I was with her.
Wow. I'm sorry. So sorry.
And she was strong. She was strong till the end. I don't think I've ever met anyone stronger than my mother. I mean, she was comforting me while she was in the hospital, and she was suffering, and she was ill, and she was dying, and she was busy comforting me. She was even having me phone her when I got home to tell her I'm safe.
Oh, wow. Wow. I've losing your mom. That's not easy at all. So, do you want to talk about what your experience has been since then and what life looked like after going through this?
So a year before she passed away, I started my private practice. So it was only a year old when she went.
Mm-hmm.
And the first few years were particularly hard because you reach these milestones, and like the media would contact me to speak on air, and magazines and newspapers, because my practice became very successful. And all I ever wanted to do was pick up the phone and tell her, and I couldn't. So I found that very, very hard in the beginning. And because she raised me on her own, she was the go-to person. She was the only person. So when she went, it felt like my whole world went. But I also knew that she would want me to be successful. She would want me to live, and she would want me to be happy. So that was
Mm-hmm.
what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I I truly believe there's like a spiritual journey attached to losing your mother or a parent in general at a younger age. I know for you, you had mentioned you were in your early 30s, so I'm just curious, what advice would you give to women in general who have lost their mothers at younger ages and have to go through the rest of their life without their mom by their side?
So before my mother passed away, she said to me, she knows she was strict, and she said that she had to be because she was mother and father. And she also said to me that she also wanted to know that if something happened to her, I would be able to look after myself. And that was why she instilled in me all the values and principles and hard work and ethics and life skills that she did, because she was 40 when I was born, and that was
Oh,
unheard
wow.
of,
Yeah, I know.
much unheard of. So she was very old school. And what I would let women know is to stand on their own 2 feet.
Mhm.
Educate yourselves. Earn your own money. Never allow yourself to be in a position where somebody else is dictating your life because you are relying on them.
Mm.
The best thing you can do for yourself, for your children, for your family, for generations to come is to be independent.
Mhm. I can see that too with the work you do, especially. I know you had mentioned you're a divorce mediator, so yeah.
Yes, I am. And there's a very, very high divorce rate, especially in South Africa. There's a lot of domestic violence. There's a lot of gender-based violence. I
Mhm.
know it's not unique to this country, it's across the world. But if you're in a position where you are strong and you are independent and you are earning your own money and you're not relying on anyone, you're in a less position to feel trapped, that you cannot escape the life that
Mhm.
you are
Mhm. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, you must have a bunch of stories, the
so
things that
many.
you witnessed.
I think Jerry Springer would be jealous if he could see my practice a lot of the time.
Yeah, the things you must have experienced. Wow. With the work you do and what you've experienced with loss, I guess I was just curious, like, how did your upbringing, your life experience kind of prepare you for the work that you're doing now? Why'd you choose that work? And what lessons have you taken into the work and applied to your job and the work that you do and working with families?
So that's a question I've asked myself a lot. So my grandmother, my mother's mother, came to South Africa in 1923 from Lithuania on a ship. It took 100 days for the ship to get here. And when the ship docked, they came in as refugees. They were escaping war. They lived through World War One and World War Two. And By the time she died, she had learned to speak English and Afrikaans, which is one of the other languages in South Africa, and also some of the Black languages that they speak in South Africa. And she'd built up a business with her husband. And she'd educated her children and her grandchildren. And she was very, very strong and successful. And then, of course, my mother, who was born towards the end of World War II here in South Africa, and she was unusual. My mother was unusual. In those days, women weren't educated. She went to college.
Mhm.
She was a bookkeeper on paper. And then, having raised my brother and I on her own, she worked full time, and she also ran the home. And she had a vegetable garden. We lived off the land. She knitted, she sewed, she made tapestry, she made carpet, she bottled fruit, she made jam, which you call jelly. She did as much as she could on her own, and watching her and watching my grandmother naturally instilled those values into me. And then, because she was 40 when I was born, by the time I was 18, she was near on retirement age in South Africa. And we'd also lived through quite a big depression.
Mhm.
So she wasn't really in a very good position to financially provide my education after I finished high school. So
Mhm.
I worked. I went to work after I finished high school, and I paid for my own education. I
Mhm.
worked and I studied, and I worked and I studied, and I studied at night. And if I wasn't studying at night, I was working late. I initially started off in a law firm, and I've perpetually put myself through my own education.
Mhm.
And in 2009, I opened my own practice, and I built up my own practice. And I bought my own home, and I furnished it, and I bought my own car, and I paid for my own driving lessons. And I did everything myself because I knew that nobody was coming to rescue me. I had to rescue myself and
Mhm.
recreate my own life. And I think because I knew that, and because giving up was never an option, you work harder and you aim for higher. And
Mhm.
that is, I think that was the foundation and the reason I had to build myself to where I am today. And the reason I'm able to help my clients is because I'm able to relate to them. I'm able
Mhm.
to sit with them. I'm able to hold space for their pain. I'm able to understand, and I'm able to work with them and connect with them closely because they are going through some of the hardest times you can ever imagine.
Mhm. Major milestones.
So my life skills prepared me to sit with them. Education is one thing, but being able to connect with people as a human, with
Mhm.
compassion, with empathy, with kindness, where you hold space for their pain, that's nothing that you can learn cognitively. That's
Mhm.
something that's in you, and it comes from your experiences.
So true. So true. And wow, wow, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about you, what your grandmother went through, what your mom. Your mom sounds like both of them sounded like super women. And then you too, with all you've done and accomplished. That's awesome. Your clients are definitely lucky to be able to sit in space with you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm grateful for my clients, and I'm grateful to make a difference in their lives.
Mhm. So needed. I'm sure, do you just curious, do you plan to write a book or anything and share some of the stories? Because I know you have them.
I have so many people who've asked me to write a book, and I've
Yes.
started putting snippets together of what happens in my office because I hear things that are stranger than any movie could ever tell you.
Yeah.
And just when I think I've heard everything, I hear something else. So I no longer think I've heard everything anymore. What's come out of the walls in this room to this day, I don't know when somebody is joking with me because I take it seriously because of the things that I hear. So
Yeah,
yes, I'm putting snippets together and obviously changing names and details
right.
for confidentiality. And maybe one day when I'm old, I'll be able to release it.
Oh, that would be, I would love to see that book. I will say, I really enjoyed, are you familiar with Mark Wolin at all? He wrote the book, It Doesn't Start With You.
I don't think I am, but let me make a note so that I can buy it on Kindle.
I think you'll enjoy it. What I loved most about his work, and I did one of his trainings as well. But what I loved most about his work is the stories. It was always the stories that made the content come alive and you really like, wow, I can really relate to this, or just it was just I really enjoy that book. Anytime I deal with any teachers, it's always great to hear the stories. You don't want the practical stuff, fine, yeah, yeah, okay. But it's really like how does it apply to life and how do you see it happening in real time, so so yeah, I would
I will
like to read that book
definitely.
if you write it.
Okay, I'll absolutely will. Absolutely. I'll give it to you first.
Okay, that sounds good. Oh, I love it. So, one of the things we like to talk a lot about here too is traditions, just different traditions that your family has held. I know you enjoyed cooking. So tell us more about those
Yes.
traditions, favorite dishes.
So there was a advert, or if I speak American, I'll say a commercial that was on television with a bunch of ladies in the kitchen, and they were saying, "What do you do?" And they would say, "We cook." And they'd say, "What do you do for fun?" And they'd say, "We bake." And that's literally how I grew up. Your cooking and baking was done as an art and for fun and entertainment, and recipes were secrets. I mean, my grandmother and mother's recipes have gone to the grave with them,
Ah,
and you'll never taste that again.
no.
So yes, there was lots of traditions around food, and the cooking one has sat with me. So I love to cook. I cook for fun,
Mhm,
and a lot of the time, everything happened in the kitchen,
mhm.
where all the women were in the kitchen sitting around a long table, cooking, baking, and of course, having a very good, interesting, and juicy conversation.
Yes. So true. Now that you say that, it just makes me think about my mind just flashed thinking about just the different generations, if you think back to the
Yes.
past, it's like the women were taking care of the homes and tending to the gardens and bringing that in and then yeah, that tradition just carries and it is such a meaningful beautiful tradition. I would say I'll share my grandmother also. That was something we enjoyed doing. My grandmother was the best cook, and I love what you said. Like you're never gonna taste it again because nobody can recreate it.
Never.
Yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate. I know we after the passing of one of my grandmothers, my family, my siblings and I and my mom, we all got together and tried to recreate some of her dishes and they're good, but they're not hers.
It's never going to be the same. And in those days, the recipe was a secret.
Yeah, yeah, it was like very particular.
It was a very big
Just
secret. And if they shared it, they would always leave one or two ingredients out so that you couldn't copy them.
you know what? I think that might be true because my grandmother, actually, my brother and I, we filmed one of her famous pies, her sweet potato pie, and I think she left something out because it's still, so there might be a point there.
So
So
they definitely left them out. And also, if you watched how they baked and cooked, they used to measure in a very different way. That they'd scoop the flour, a pinch of salt, scoop this, a handful of that. Nothing was even measured or
measured.
weighed.
Yeah, so true. It's amazing. Have you ever seen the meme or the quote where it was like, I listened to the ancestors as I was seasoning my food. I'll stop when the ancestors tell me to stop, or something like that. I was cracking
I
up.
know. all done on instinct.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, I love it. So cooking. Any favorite meals or dishes?
My mother used to be a phenomenal cook and my grandmother, and there was traditional foods. I mean, my grandmother brought with her a lot of traditional cooking that
Hmm.
she grew up with in Lithuania. And then, of course, South Africa has the best food in the world. I've eaten at so many countries. I've eaten in your country. I've been to the United Kingdom and Italy. I've been to Australia. I've been to Germany. You will never get food like you get in South Africa. You won't want to leave. And so we have some very unique dishes here and unique seasonings.
Oh, I
So
bet.
a lot of the dishes are potato dishes, very specific soups, certain ways of roasting things. And I understand the difference in what we say. Like if you say pie, I think you're talking about like a tart.
Yes.
We call it tarts, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you come to South Africa, then I'll introduce you to some of the foods.
Mm. Oh, that sounds so good. I have a sister-in-law. She's actually from Liberia, so like Northern Africa, and West, actually West. Um, and I love their food. So anytime they have baby showers or weddings or any sort of birthday party gatherings, I've always loved it, just experimenting and trying different foods from around the
The
world.
traditional foods,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So
So very
I
much
can
a fun
just
thing to do.
it is. It really is. It is. Oh, this is good. So I'm hearing cooking. Any other traditions or things you want to speak on that carried down?
So there was a lot of attention to musicals,
Mm.
musical productions, musical shows, singing, dancing. My mother did rock and roll dancing in her day.
That's
I
really
did ballroom and Latin American. And then there was the traditional folk dancing and all that kind of thing. So that was really big. And yeah, I mean, that's what I can think of on the top of my head was the arts and culture.
good. Hmm. Oh, that's yeah. So food, arts, and culture. I think I belong over there in South Africa. Oh, it sounds like arts. It sounds like arts is big in the culture there. Is that right? The arts.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
very
nice.
much so. Very much so.
Nice,
Back
nice.
in the day, I used to write quite a bit of poetry. I haven't in a while, but I think that all stemmed from my mother because she was so artistic. I mean,
Hmm.
I didn't take all of the things she could do and her sisters could do and her mother could do. I picked and I chose.
Hmm.
But yes, arts and culture was very much big growing up.
Hmm. That's right. That's nice. So I have to ask you, one of the things I usually always like to ask our guests is just how did your life experience prepare you, I guess, for the work? And I know we touched on this a bit, but why law? Just out of curiosity, was it something in your history that just caused you to go down that road?
You know, it's
Hmm.
always interested me. And I changed direction. I was going to go full on divorce law, and then mediation occurred to me. Now, mediation in South Africa, back when I was considering it in 2007, was considered alternative dispute resolution. And it wasn't something really recognized. There was a group of people. I was one of the early pioneers. And I've always been led by my intuition, or shall I
Hmm.
say my, and I had this very deep, burning desire to do mediation. I saw people in the law firm I was in spend their life savings on getting divorced. that there was nothing left for their children.
Mm.
So I decided there was a better way. So I went back to study alternative dispute resolution, and everyone was very angry with me in those circles. They almost broke up with me. In fact, I lost a lot of friends and colleagues. They told me it was a dying thing. On the day I wrote my final exams, the Children's Act came out in South Africa, bringing in mediation where children are involved.
Mm.
Now, 17 years later, in the province of Gauteng, where I live, mediation has become law. You
Mm.
do not get a court date unless your matter has been to mediation. So I'm a full-time mediator, and I think now that you mention this, had I not followed my intuition 19 years ago, I probably would have fallen out of where I was supposed to be, of my purpose, because it
Mm.
feels like a calling to work with people. I need to sleep at night with a clean conscience.
Mm.
So I save them up to 90% in legal fees. I save them trauma. I save them paperwork, time, and their relationships so that they can co-parent effectively post-divorce. And we
Mhm.
do parenting plans for the children. So I've always followed my gut. And when
Mhm.
I don't, I've come short. I've fallen flat the times I haven't listened.
I got goosebumps as you were saying that. Yeah, it's interesting how life, when you listen, it does guide you. Like if you're listening, it's guiding you right where
It's
you need to
guiding.
be. Hmm.
And when you don't listen, you pay the price.
Oh, yes, you do. You truly do. There's another author I love and appreciate. You might have heard of her, Carolyn Mace. Are you familiar with her? MYSS. She's another one. She speaks a lot about healing. Actually, one of the reasons I was drawn to her work. And yeah, when you ignore it, it sits in your body and in your cells, and it manifests when you're not doing what your soul wants you to do,
You
essentially.
know, that makes so much sense. In
Hmm.
2024, I studied trauma
Hmm.
so that I could better help my clients.
Yeah,
And one of the books I read was The Body Keeps the
yeah.
Score
Oh, that's a good one.
by
Yeah.
Dr. Gabor Mate.
Hmm.
And in that book, it speaks about trauma and how it lives in your cells and lives in your body and how you can get so sick. So I think what you're speaking about by that author Mice, I think you said on healing and how I
Hmm.
think the two could possibly correlate.
They do, yes. Oh, you if you enjoyed that book, you'll love the Mark Wolin and Carolyn Mace. You'll love their work. Yeah,
Okay, I'm definitely going to look at that book. Thank you.
yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Um, okay, so usually what I like to close with our guests is just you've already given us so many words of wisdom, but if there's anything additional you'd like to share for a future generation, I know you talked about a lot about independence and listening to your intuition and higher guidance. So just anything you'd like to share in closing for a future generation, and then where folks can find you online if they want to connect with you.
Okay, so if I think about loss, we don't have to look at it that it takes from you because it also shapes you into who you become. And if I think about what I'd like to carry forward, probably the ability to help people to find clarity and peace in the middle of change.
Mhm. Okay, no, that's good. And then I just love what you said too, though, about the words of wisdom for a future generation is independence. Like I would wholeheartedly agree because we never know, you're with somebody that you lose them, they walk away, whatever the case is. It's really important to be independent, and then yeah, just have a spiritual practice, essentially listening to your intuition or praying or whatever one's belief is, and
Yes.
tuning in and tapping into that. So true.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got to have a holistic approach. So
Yes,
mind,
exactly. Yeah.
body, soul must be aligned.
Yes, so true. So very true. Now if folks want to find you online, where can they find you?
Okay, so my practice is obviously the divorce mediations with an S on the end, .co.za.
Mhm.
That's my main website, or they can email me at Chantal. So that would be my name, Chantal, at divorcemediations.co.za.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure to include all that information in the description. So thank
Okay,
you.
that would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it was lovely speaking to you today. Thank you for coming on and, sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. I've loved meeting you and speaking on your podcast, and you have a lovely, comforting, calming presence about
Mm,
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elijah. And let me know if you come to South Africa.
Will do. Will do.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I'll stop the
Bye-bye.
Raised by women, raised by women, raised by women, we rise. Raised by women, we rise. From the past to the prize, raised by